Hello and welcome to this video. So in this video, we're going to learn how to solve nonlinear simultaneous equations. Okay, nonlinear simultaneous equations. So why are they referred to as nonlinear? It's because one of them is actually a quadratic equation. So this is a quadratic equation, this is a linear equation. And sometimes we can also refer to them as quadratic simultaneous equations. So how do we go about them? So there are many methods of solving solving simultaneous equations. There's elimination method, there's substitution method, there's a graphical method. So all those are ways of solving simultaneous equations, but elimination method is not going to work. So elimination method can only work for linear equations only. So the best method to use here is going to be substitution method. Substitution method. So we are going to use substitution method to solve for x and y. So we're going to have two values of x and also two values of y. Now, substitution simply means replacing. To substitute means to replace. So we replace one unknown with the other. So what do we do? So when you look at the second equation, x is equal to y take away 4. X is equal to y minus 4. So that means x is the same as y minus 4. So what we do in the other equation, where we have x, we can replace or substitute it with y minus 4. So here is where we have x. So the new equation would be, so instead of writing x, we're going to write y minus 4 and then squared. So remember it was x squared. So it's y minus 4 squared and then plus y squared is equal to 17. So we now have an equation with only one unknown, which is y. So we can expand it and solve for the two values of y, and then we shall use them to get the values of x. So we get the values of y first, and then we use them to work out the values of x. So let's expand this. So y minus 4 squared simply means y minus 4 multiplied by y minus 4. And then we have a plus y squared is equal to 17. So let's expand these double brackets. So y times y, that gives us y squared. Y times negative 4, that gives us negative 4y. Then negative 4 times y, that's negative 4y again. Then negative 4 times negative 4, that's positive 16. And then we have a plus y squared. So plus y squared is equal to 17. Then the next thing we need to do is to simplify, to collect the like terms together, so that the equation is going to be in the general format of a quadratic equation. Ax squared, or rather, since we are using y, let's have it as ay squared plus by plus c is equal to 0. So the terms with y squared, we're going to combine them. So y squared plus y squared is going to be 2y squared. Then negative 4y minus 4y, that's going to be negative 8y. And then plus 16 is equal to 17. Then we need to take away 17 from both sides, so that on one side we're going to have 0. So we can do this. So 2y squared minus 8y plus 16. So we can take away 17 from both sides. So on the right side it will be equal to 0. And then on the left side it will be 2y squared minus 8y then minus 1, because 16 minus 17 is negative 1, and then is equal to 0. So we now have a quadratic equation ready to solve. Yeah, so you can see that it is now in the general format of a quadratic equation. Then there are many ways of solving quadratic equation. There's factorization, there's quadratic formula, completing the square. So you can use your method of choice, but for this video we're going to use the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is usually so y is going to be equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a, like that. Alright, so what is a, what is b, and what is c? So a is the coefficient of y squared, which is 2. B is the coefficient of y, which is negative 8. And c is the constant, which is negative 1. So we just need to plug in the values of a, b, and c into the quadratic formula to get the two values of y. So let's do that. So negative b. So b is already a negative 8. So that's going to be negative 8. And we know that when you have two negative signs, we can replace them with a positive. So this can just be positive 8. Positive 8. Then plus or minus the square root of b squared. So b is negative 8. Negative 8 squared is actually 64. And not negative 64. That is a mistake that many students make. So it's negative 8 times negative 8. That's positive 64. And then minus. So here we can put a bracket so that we don't mess up the signs. So 4 times a is 2. And then times c is negative 1. Like that. And then all this divided by 2a. So a is equal to 2. So meaning 2a would be 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay. Then we need to simplify it now. So we can start here. So 4 times 2 times negative 1. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. So the new problem is going to be, so 8 plus or minus the square root of, so 64 take away negative 8. So inside the bracket we have negative 8. And we know, just like we said, when you have two negative signs, we can replace them with a plus. So this is the same thing as 64 plus 8. 64 plus 8, and then all this divided by 4. So 64 plus 8 is 72. So this is going to be 8 plus or minus the square root of 72, and then divided by 4. So we are almost there. We are almost there. So we need to find the square root of 72 using your calculator. So the square root of 72 is actually 8.49. 8.49. So we can do this. So this is going to be 8 plus or minus the root of the square root of 72 is 8.49, and then divided by 4. So this is how we're going to do it at this point. We're going to split it into 2. Okay, like this. So remember, we have two values of y. So the first value of y is going to be 8 plus. Remember, here we have plus or minus. So it's 8 plus 8.49 divided by 4, or y would be equal to 8 minus. So when we use plus for the first one, we use a minus for the second one. So it would be 8 minus 8.49 divided by 4. So the first one, this one, so 8 plus 8.49, that's 16.49, and then we have to divide that by 4. So the first value of y is going to be 4.1225. Then the second one, so 8 take away 8.49, 8 take away 8.49, and then we have to divide that by 4. So that would be equal to, so the second value of y would be negative 0.1225. So we now have the two values of y. So we need to use them to get the two values of x. So to do that, we're going to use the two equations. So we are actually going to use one of them. So the easiest one to use is this one. So x is equal to y minus 4. So that's the one that we're going to use. So x is equal to y minus 4. So what we just do is to substitute y with these two values. So let's start with the first one. So when y is 4.1225, so x would be equal to, so y is 4.1225, and then we take away 4. So meaning x would be 0.1225. And when y is negative 0.1225, x would be equal to, so negative 0.1225 plus, or rather, sorry, take away 4, minus 4, like that. And that would be equal to negative 4.1225. So when y is this, x would be equal to this. When y is this, x would be equal to this. So those are the four answers. Two values of x and two values of y. So we have solved for the quadratic simultaneous equation. So I know it's a long process and maybe it would be challenging at first, but I have some practice questions for you. So there's a link in the description box of this video. So all you just need to do is to click on it. You do the questions, and if you need assistance, you can always reach out to me. The WhatsApp number is just there in the description box. All you just need to do is to send me a message on WhatsApp if you need assistance. And also, once you do the questions, you can send me the answers and the working, and then I can let you know if you did them correctly or not. So thank you, and let's meet in the next video. So if you found it useful, please consider subscribing and also turning on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you get notified about it. So goodbye, and let's meet in the next video.